My beloved child, do not scroll. Big news is unfolding inside the heart of the person connected to you, and something you recently did has filled them with a joy they did not expect to feel again. You may not even realize what you did. It may have seemed small to you. Perhaps you chose silence instead of sending another message. Perhaps you finally stopped chasing an explanation. Perhaps you forgave them quietly. Perhaps you shared something kind, changed something about your life, or simply began focusing on your own happiness. Whatever it was, your action reached them emotionally. Something shifted and, right now, the person you have been thinking about is feeling a strange combination of happiness, relief, hope, and excitement. They may not be expressing it openly. They may still appear distant. They may still be hiding behind pride, fear, responsibilities, or circumstances, but beneath that surface, their heart is lighter than it has been in a long time, and the reason is connected to you. Stay until the end, because this message will reveal what you did, why it affected them so deeply, and what they are now considering doing next. The final revelation may explain why you have recently felt a sudden emotional change, without knowing where it came from. But before we continue, take one slow breath. Let your mind become still. Think of the person whose energy entered your heart. The moment you saw this title, you did not need to search for their face. It appeared naturally. There is a reason. This connection has never been ordinary to you. Even when you tried to move forward, something remained unfinished. Even when the communication became quiet, your heart continued sensing that the story was not completely over. There were moments when you questioned everything. You wondered whether you had imagined the depth. You wondered whether they had forgotten you. You wondered whether your absence mattered to them at all. But listen closely. Your absence did not make them forget you. It made them understand you. When you were always emotionally available, they became accustomed to your presence. They knew you cared. They knew you would listen. They knew you would forgive. They knew that even after distance or misunderstanding, part of your heart remained open to them. They may have taken that emotional safety for granted, not necessarily because they wanted to hurt you, but because people often fail to appreciate what feels permanently available. Then something changed. You pulled your energy back, you became quieter. You stopped asking the questions they refused to answer. You stopped trying to prove that the connection was real. You began redirecting your attention toward yourself, and that is one of the things creating joy inside them now. At first, your distance frightened them. They wondered whether they had finally pushed you too far. They felt the difference immediately. Your silence was not empty. It carried strength. It told them that you were no longer willing to lose yourself while waiting for another person to become clear. That realization made them nervous. But then they noticed something else. You were not becoming bitter. You were becoming stronger. You were not attacking them. You were healing. You were not trying to make them jealous. You were rebuilding your life, and seeing that change created a feeling they did not expect. Pride. Your soulmate feels proud of you. They have watched you survive an emotional season that could have broken you. They know some of the pain you carried, even if they never fully understood it. They remember the moments when your confidence disappeared. They remember the questions you asked, because you were afraid of losing the connection. They remember the way you tried to hold everything together, and now they can feel that you are becoming whole again. That brings them joy, a deep, quiet joy. Because regardless of the confusion between you, they never truly wanted to see you destroyed. They may have acted carelessly. They may have remained silent when they should have communicated. They may have allowed fear to control their choices. But somewhere underneath all of that, they cared about your happiness. And now they sense that you are finding it. Do not scroll, because their joy is not only about your healing. Something more personal happened. You recently did something that made them believe they may not have completely lost you. Perhaps you shared a message about forgiveness. Perhaps you reacted differently than they expected. Perhaps you did not respond with anger when you had every reason to. Perhaps a mutual friend mentioned that you spoke about the past with maturity rather than resentment. Perhaps they noticed that, although you were moving forward, you were not trying to destroy their reputation. That touched them deeply. They expected you to hate them. They may have believed that after everything that happened, you would never want to hear their name again. They worried that they had become a painful memory in your life. But something you did showed them that your heart had not become cruel. You may still have boundaries. You may still require honesty. You may never accept the same treatment again, but your healing has not turned into revenge. That is what brought them joy. They see that the person they loved is still there, stronger, wiser, and less willing to accept confusion, but still compassionate. Your softness survived, and they know how rare that is. Stay with this message. Because the person connected to you has been comparing your energy with everything around them. They have met people. They have entered conversations. They have tried to become distracted. They may have told themselves they could easily move on. But again and again, they noticed the difference. Other people could entertain them, but they did not understand them. Other people could speak to them, but they did not hear the emotions behind their words. Other people could offer attention, but it did not feel like the connection they experienced with you. With you, they felt emotionally recognized. You noticed the changes in their voice. You understood when their silence meant exhaustion, rather than rejection. You saw beyond their public personality. You knew when they were pretending to be fine. They missed that. And something you recently did reminded them of the way you once made them feel. Maybe they heard your voice. Maybe they saw a new photograph of you. Maybe they came across an old message. Maybe a song returned them to a specific memory. Maybe they dreamed about you, or perhaps they simply had a difficult moment and instinctively wished they could speak with you. That memory created joy, because for a few seconds, it made them feel close to you again. The distance disappeared, the confusion became quiet, and the emotional warmth they had been missing returned. Do not misunderstand. Joy does not mean they have solved every problem. They are still thinking. They are still afraid. They may still be trying to understand what they are supposed to do. But hope has entered their heart again. For a long time, they believed the connection had reached a permanent ending. They assumed too much time had passed. They thought their hesitation had destroyed every possibility. But your recent action gave them a reason to question that conclusion. They began wondering whether there could still be a conversation. Whether forgiveness might be possible. Whether both of you have changed enough to approach the connection differently. And this possibility has awakened something inside them. Something they thought was gone. Excitement. They are imagining what they would say if they contacted you. They are replaying possible conversations. They are thinking about whether to begin with an apology or a simple question. They may have typed your name into their phone. They may have opened an old conversation and stared at the screen. They may have written a message and deleted it, because the words did not feel strong enough. They do not want to return carelessly. They know that one weak message cannot repair everything. They know you are no longer the person who will accept vague attention. And strangely, that makes them respect you more. Your boundaries have not pushed away genuine emotion. They have revealed whether that emotion is strong enough to become action. Listen carefully. Your soulmate is feeling joy because you finally chose yourself. That may sound surprising. They once benefited from your endless patience. They once relied on your emotional availability. So why would your independence make them happy? Because deep inside, they always knew you were giving too much. They saw you lowering your needs to protect the connection. They saw you accepting silence when you deserved communication. They knew you were trying to understand them while neglecting your own pain. Part of them felt guilty. Part of them felt unworthy. Part of them feared that they were slowly destroying someone they genuinely cared about. Now they see you rising. They see you rediscovering your confidence. They see you becoming less afraid of losing anyone who refuses to choose you properly. And although this transformation means they can no longer return without changing, they are happy that you are no longer abandoning yourself. That is love in its more mature form. Real care does not want another person to remain weak, simply because weakness makes them easier to control. Real care wants them to become whole, and your soulmate can feel your wholeness returning. Do not scroll because there is another reason for their joy. You did not replace the connection with hatred. They may have expected you to speak badly about them. They may have imagined that you would tell everyone their mistakes. They may have feared that your pain would become public. But instead, you protected what was private. You may have spoken to a few trusted people. You may have needed support. But you did not turn the most vulnerable parts of the connection into entertainment. That earned their respect. They know you could have exposed them. You knew things about their fears, weaknesses, and emotional struggles. You had access to parts of them that few people understood, yet even when you were hurt, you did not use those things as weapons. That is something they cannot forget. It showed them that your love had been genuine. You were not kind only when everything was easy. Your character remained visible even after disappointment. And now they are thinking about whether they deserve another opportunity to stand beside someone like you. Stay until the end, because the answer they are reaching may surprise you. They do not believe they deserve immediate access. They know that returning would require more than saying, "I miss you." They know they would need to explain their silence. They would need to acknowledge the fear, pride, or confusion that caused them to withdraw. They would need to listen to your pain without becoming defensive. They would need to accept that trust may not return instantly, but instead of making them run. This realization is beginning to make them serious. For the first time, they are not only thinking about how much they want you, they are thinking about what they would need to become to love you properly. That is a major shift. Previously, they may have focused on their emotions. They thought about missing you, wanting you, or feeling drawn toward you. But wanting someone is not the same as being ready for them. Now they are asking deeper questions. Can I communicate consistently? Can I be honest when I am afraid? Can I stop running whenever the connection becomes intense? Can I choose this person openly? Can I protect their heart, instead of repeatedly testing it? These questions are uncomfortable, but they are necessary, and your recent action inspired them to begin asking. You did not lecture them. You did not beg them to change. You changed yourself, and your transformation became a mirror. It showed them the difference between emotional desire and emotional maturity. Do not scroll, because they have also been feeling joy through one particular memory. There was a moment between you that may have seemed ordinary at the time. Perhaps it was a conversation late at night. Perhaps you made them laugh during a difficult day. Perhaps you encouraged them when no one else believed in them. Perhaps you remembered a detail they had forgotten they told you. Perhaps you looked at them with an expression that made them feel completely understood. That memory has returned. It may have been triggered by something simple. A familiar place, a particular scent, a phrase someone used, the sound of rain, a certain time of day, and when it returned, they smiled. Not because the past was perfect, but because that memory reminded them that something real existed between you. For a brief moment, their hearts stopped focusing on what went wrong. They remembered what felt right. They remembered how naturally the connection developed. They remembered the calmness of being understood. They remembered the excitement of seeing your name appear. They remembered the way their mood changed after talking with you. That memory created deep joy. But it also created longing. They began wishing they could return to that moment with the wisdom they have now. They imagined what they would do differently. They would speak sooner. They would stop hiding. They would not allow pride to create unnecessary distance. They would listen more carefully. They would appreciate the connection instead of assuming it would always remain available. Regret can be painful, but it can also become a teacher. Your soulmate is beginning to learn. Stay with this message. You may have recently felt a sudden wave of happiness without any clear reason. Perhaps you woke up feeling unusually light. Perhaps a memory of this person appeared, but instead of creating pain, it brought peace. Perhaps you suddenly felt that something had shifted. That feeling does not automatically prove what another person is experiencing, but it may reflect the change happening inside your own heart. You are no longer carrying the connection in the same desperate way. You are releasing the need to control the outcome. You are understanding that what belongs in your life must approach you with clarity. That emotional release has created space. And within that space, something new can happen. Either the connection will return in a healthier form, or you will become free enough to receive something better. Both possibilities can lead to joy. That is why your energy feels different. You are no longer waiting in the same way. You may still care, you may still feel connected, but you are learning not to make your happiness dependent on another person's decision. This change is attractive, not because you are playing games, not because distance is a strategy, but because self-respect changes how people experience your presence. When you stop chasing, your energy becomes calmer. When you stop explaining your value, others must decide whether they can recognize it themselves. When you stop accepting confusion, people must either become clear or lose access. Your soulmate can feel that change, and it has awakened both joy and urgency. The joy comes from seeing you become stronger. The urgency comes from knowing that your life is moving. You are not standing still. New opportunities may be approaching. New people may be entering your world. Your confidence may be returning. And they understand that if they remain silent forever, someone else may recognize what they were too afraid to choose. That possibility frightens them. They imagine seeing you happy with another person. They imagine your heart becoming unavailable. They imagine hearing that you have finally moved on. And for the first time, the pain of losing you feels greater than the fear of speaking honestly. Do not scroll, because this is where the emotional shift becomes important. Your soulmate is considering contact. This does not guarantee that a message will arrive immediately. People can feel strong emotions and still hesitate. But the idea has become active in their mind. They are searching for the right opening. They do not know whether you would answer. They do not know whether you would be warm, distant, angry, or completely uninterested. They fear rejection, but they also know they cannot remain silent forever. They may begin indirectly. A reaction to something you share. A question through a mutual connection. A simple greeting. An old memory mentioned casually. They may try to discover whether the emotional door is completely closed. But be careful. You do not need to accept breadcrumbs simply because you have been waiting for communication. A weak message should not erase the lessons your silence taught you. Observe the intention behind the contact. Are they approaching because they are lonely? Are they returning because something else ended? Are they seeking comfort without commitment? Or are they prepared to speak clearly? Your heart can remain open without becoming unprotected. Let them communicate. Let them explain. But allow actions to reveal whether the joy they feel is connected to genuine readiness or temporary emotion. This message is not telling you to wait endlessly. It is telling you to remain grounded. The person may miss you deeply. They may feel joy when thinking about you. They may imagine a future. But a healthy connection requires action from both sides. Emotional energy is not enough. Dreams are not enough. Unspoken love is not enough. The relationship must eventually enter reality. There must be conversation. There must be honesty. There must be responsibility. There must be mutual choice. Your soulmate is beginning to understand this, and that understanding is part of the big news. They are no longer satisfied with feeling you from a distance. They are beginning to desire a real place in your life. They want to know how your days have been. They want to hear what has changed. They want to know whether you still laugh at the same things. They wonder whether your dreams are different now. They wonder whether you still remember the private moments that remain alive inside them. They are imagining ordinary things. Not only dramatic romance. They imagine sitting beside you, peacefully. They imagine sharing a meal. They imagine hearing about your day. They imagine being present during the moments that once passed without them. This is a sign that their feelings are becoming more grounded. Fantasy focuses only on intensity. Mature love begins imagining responsibility, consistency, and everyday presence. They are beginning to understand that a future with you would not only be about passion. It would be about showing up. Do not leave, because there is one thing they desperately want to tell you. They want to say thank you. Thank you for the way you loved them when they did not know how to receive love. Thank you for seeing potential inside them when they could only see failure. Thank you for listening without judging. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for the moments when you gave them hope. Thank you for walking away when staying would have taught them that their behavior had no consequences. Your distance became a lesson. It taught them that meaningful people can be lost. It taught them that love requires care. It taught them that silence can create permanent separation. It taught them that fear does not protect the heart. Fear often causes the very loss a person is trying to avoid. They now see their past behavior differently. At the time, they may have called it caution. They may have said they needed space. They may have blamed timing, but now they recognize that some of it was fear. Fear of vulnerability, fear of being fully known, fear of failing you, fear of becoming responsible for someone else's heart. They were afraid of the connection because it mattered. But they have learned that running did not remove the feeling, it only removed the opportunity to experience it fully. That realization is leading them toward a choice. Stay until the end, because the choice is not simply whether to contact you. The deeper choice is whether to remain the same person. They know that returning without transformation would only repeat the old cycle. There might be excitement. There might be beautiful words, but eventually, the same fears would return. The same silence would return, the same confusion would return. They do not want that. They are feeling joy because something you did gave them hope that a different beginning may be possible. But they also feel pressure because a different beginning requires a different version of them. They must learn to communicate before disappearing. They must become honest about their intentions. They must stop expecting you to understand what they refuse to explain. They must choose consistency. They must respect your boundaries. They must accept that rebuilding will take time. They are thinking about these things more seriously than you realize. You may not see the internal work. Their life may look unchanged from the outside, but certain realizations have become impossible to ignore. Your happiness is one of them. When they see or imagine you smiling again, they feel joy. But they also ask themselves an uncomfortable question. Will I be part of that happiness, or will I only watch it from a distance? That question follows them. When they wake up, when they are alone, when they see couples communicating openly, when someone mentions commitment, when a song reminds them of you, they are beginning to understand that love cannot be experienced through imagination forever. Eventually, someone must move, someone must speak, someone must risk hearing an answer they may not want, and they are considering becoming that person. Do not scroll, because you also did something else that affected them. You stopped trying to make them understand your value. You stopped presenting evidence of how deeply you cared. You stopped proving that you were different from everyone else. You allowed them to experience life without your emotional presence. And life taught the lesson you could not teach through words. They noticed the absence of your kindness. They noticed how rare your emotional depth was. They noticed that not everyone listens the way you did. Not everyone remembers. Not everyone encourages. Not everyone offers peace. They may have believed they could easily find the same connection somewhere else. Now they know that people can be replaced in routine, but genuine emotional safety is not easily replaced. Your absence created contrast. It showed them the difference between attention and connection, between chemistry and understanding, between someone wanting their time and someone caring about their soul. That my realization brought pain, but it also brought joy. Because now they finally understand what they felt with you. They are no longer confused about whether it was meaningful. They know. The confusion now concerns what to do about it. Listen carefully. You may soon notice small changes. They may become more visible around you. They may react to something after a long silence. They may ask someone about you. They may revisit a place connected to your memories. They may appear in a dream because your own mind is processing the unfinished connection. But do not allow every coincidence to control your emotions. Remain grounded in real behavior. A meaningful connection should eventually become clear through direct action. Do not build an entire future from small signs. Let the person show you what they want. Let their consistency answer the questions that imagination cannot. Your soulmate's joy is beautiful, but your peace is equally important. You have already experienced what happens when you focus only on their emotions. You lose touch with your own needs. This time must be different. If they return, both hearts must be heard. You must be able to speak about what hurt you. You must be able to ask for clarity without being called demanding. You must be able to express needs without fearing that they will disappear, and they must be prepared to listen. Love cannot become healthy when only one person is allowed to feel. A reunion is not automatically a happy ending. It is an opportunity to create a new beginning. That beginning requires honesty about the old ending. Your soulmate may feel deep joy because of something you did, but do not take responsibility for maintaining their emotional happiness. You are not required to perform happiness, so they feel hopeful. You are not required to remain available. You are not required to forgive before you are ready. Their joy belongs to them. Your healing belongs to you. A healthy future can only grow when neither person uses emotion to control the other. Stay with this message because there is a beautiful possibility ahead. Imagine a conversation where no one hides. They tell you what they felt. You tell them what their silence did to you. They do not interrupt. They do not create excuses. They listen. You do not attack. You speak clearly. Both of you recognize how fear created the distance. Then, instead of making dramatic promises, you agree to rebuild slowly. One conversation at a time, one honest action at a time, one kept promise at a time. Trust begins returning. Not because the past is forgotten, because the present becomes different. This possibility is bringing your soulmate joy. They are imagining that the story may not have ended in pain. Perhaps the pain was a turning point. Perhaps both of you needed to grow separately. Perhaps the distance revealed what closeness had hidden. Perhaps they needed to lose access to appreciate responsibility. Perhaps you needed to stop chasing so you could remember your worth. But do not force this meaning. Let the future reveal whether both people truly learned. Sometimes separation prepares people for reunion. Sometimes it prepares them for release. Both outcomes can be meaningful. The important thing is that you do not return to the old version of yourself. The version who accepted uncertainty, because love felt rare. Love is not truly rare when it requires you to disappear inside it. Healthy love allows you to become more yourself. It strengthens your voice. It respects your boundaries. It does not make you beg for basic clarity. Your soulmate's joy must eventually be accompanied by courage. Without courage, it remains only a private feeling. With courage, it may become a conversation. With maturity, that conversation may become consistent action. And with mutual effort, that action may become a relationship. Do not settle for less than the complete process. The person connected to you is learning that a soulmate is not simply someone who creates powerful emotions. A soulmate can also become a mirror. You reflected the parts of them that needed healing. Your love showed them what was possible. Your absence showed them what their fear could cost. Your growth showed them what courage looks like, and now your peace is showing them that love does not require desperation. That is the something you did. You began choosing peace. You stopped trying to control the outcome. You allowed the connection to breathe. And in that space, their true feelings became clearer. They are joyful, because the love has not turned into hatred. They are joyful because they see you becoming stronger. They are joyful because something in your recent energy made them believe that honest communication may still be possible. But most of all, they are joyful because remembering you reminds them of who they want to become. You inspired them. Perhaps you never knew that. Perhaps they never said it, but your resilience speaks to them. The way you continue after disappointment. The way you find light again. The way you care deeply, but are learning to stand firmly. They admire that. And admiration is transforming their feelings from simple longing into serious reflection. They do not only want your love. They want to become worthy of the trust that comes with it. Do not scroll, because this final part is for you. Whether they return tomorrow, months from now, or never. Do not lose the joy you have created within yourself. Your action affected them because it was genuine. You were not pretending to heal. You were not using silence as punishment. You were becoming more aligned with your own life. Continue. Do not stop your growth because you sense their attention returning. Do not abandon your routine to watch your phone. Do not place your dreams on hold. The right person will not require you to shrink your life to make room for them. They will walk beside the life you are building. Let communication come naturally if it is meant to come. Let them demonstrate their intentions. You do not need to prepare a perfect response. You only need to remain honest. If you still care, you can say that. If you need time, you can say that. If you require clarity, say it. If you have moved on, you are allowed to say that too. Your answer should come from peace, not pressure. Your soulmate's deep joy does not create an obligation, it creates an opportunity for truth. And truth is what this connection has needed from the beginning. No more guessing, no more hidden emotions. No more waiting for signs while avoiding conversations. No more accepting occasional attention as proof of commitment. Let the next chapter be real, or let it remain closed. But do not return to confusion. You have grown too much. Big news is moving through this connection. A heart that once tried to suppress its feelings is beginning to smile again. A person who believed they had lost you completely has found a small reason to hope. They are remembering your kindness. They are feeling proud of your strength. They are imagining a conversation. They are considering a step. But their next action belongs to them. Your responsibility is to remain rooted in your value. Let them come with honesty. Let them come with accountability. Let them come prepared to stay. Anything less will not match the person you have become. If this message spoke to your heart, comment below, "I choose joyful love." Let those words become your declaration. You choose love that feels peaceful rather than confusing. You choose love that communicates. You choose love that celebrates your growth. You choose love that does not ask you to chase. You choose love that is brave enough to become visible. Like this video if you believe that genuine connections can inspire healing. Subscribe for messages about love, emotional growth, spiritual reflection, and self-worth. Share this with someone who needs to remember that choosing themselves does not destroy real love. It reveals it. And when this video ends, do not begin waiting anxiously for a message. Return to your life. Continue doing the very thing that created this shift. Continue healing. Continue smiling. Continue choosing peace. Continue becoming someone who does not need another person's attention to feel complete. Because that is the energy your soulmate is feeling right now. They can sense that you are no longer standing in sadness. They can sense that your heart is becoming lighter. They can sense that your life is opening again. And something about that has brought deep joy into their heart. Perhaps they are happy. because they know you deserve happiness. Perhaps they are happy, because they hope they may, one day, share it with you. Perhaps they are finally realizing that your joy is not something they should fear. It is something they want to protect. But remember, the love meant for you will do more than feel happy from a distance. It will eventually step forward. It will speak. It will choose. It will take responsibility. And it will meet you where your healing has taken you. Until that moment, keep your heart open, but keep your standards strong. Lom's hope, but do not surrender your peace. Believe in love, but trust actions. Honor the connection, but honor yourself more. Your soulmate is feeling deep joy right now because of something you did. You stopped begging love to recognize you. You recognized yourself. And that changed everything.